we had a distress call around 7:46, and we got there at 7:52.
Okay, so how long did it take to douse the fire?
It took about 1.5 hours to douse the fire.
All right, thanks so much for speaking to us on NewsBeat. So I have been engaged in the Public Relations Office of the Ghana National Fire Service, Ellis Robinson Okoye. Let's now take you back to the Ashanti region on that story regarding a toddler that's feared to have drowned at Sawaba near the affordable housing estate after that heavy downpour was seen yesterday. Bassett is our Ashanti regional correspondent. He joins us again via Zoom to give us an update on that issue. Now, Bassett, I was asking, the residents are attributing the flood to the devastating nature of a bridge in the community. What can you tell us about the state of that bridge?
Yeah, exactly. The state of the bridge that they were talking about is exactly to a very in a deplorable state. It's just behind me where I'm standing right now. Part of the bridge have collapsed, and the assembly, according to the resident assembly, recently came to dump some granites around that.
Hello, Bassett.
So the time when it rained, the place.
Hello, Bassett. All right, unfortunately, I think we lost Bassett. We'll try to rework the lines and get back to him. Two other stories. Now, there have been some recommended practical solutions from a professor in the Department of Government and International Affairs at the University of South Florida, Dr. Stephen K. Akins, to help Ghana from incurring more judgment debt, and shortly would bring you some slides on what his recommendations are. Shortly would show you all of those recommendations shortly. But in the meantime, the Minister of Justice and the Attorney General, Godfrey Dame-Yeboah, has described as mischievous reasons given by the Fix-It country to embark on a protest. Now, some Ghanaians have since April been venting their pleas on government, calling it to fix the system to improve the living conditions in the country. But they have been barred by an ongoing suit at the Accra High Court. Speaking to Francis Kakra-Forson, the Attorney General said the reasons given by the demonstrators aren't compelling enough to demonstrate in the time of a pandemic.
For demonstrations, I've also led demonstrations. I'm on record as one of the founders of the Alliance for Accountable Governance. I led a demonstration all the way from Circle to the streets, TUC, ministries, and what have you. And I think I'm also in full agreement with the right to express oneself freely. The right to express yourself can be exercised through many means other than demonstrations. So demonstrations is really not the only way to express oneself. The substantive matter is before the High Court Accra. I would like to prejudice this. Safe to say that the restriction has been imposed by circumstances that we all know, COVID-19. There's nowhere in this world that demonstrations are allowed. It's only on account of spontaneous circumstances that people demonstrate. It's only on account of very compelling circumstances that people may demonstrate. So we take account of the Black Lives Matter. Very unfortunate incident, tragic, I mean, crude on all accounts, and people just spontaneously came out onto the street for weeks on end and had support around the world. What is the purpose for this demonstration? They claim hold on. They say they are demonstrating on account of broken promises by successive governments. The demonstration on their own showing was an account. It's not about the MPP, so it is not urgent. It's not pressing. If you are demonstrating about broken promises by successive governments since independence, what is the urgency about it? They actually indicated that they wanted to be heard. So what did the government do? We acted in a manner that no government had done. In an unprecedented fashion, the government constituted virtually its top ministers in government to engage them on their concerns. I was one of them, the Minister for Defense, Minister for Foreign Affairs, Minister for Interior, Minister for Finance, and a few other ministers. When I was at the meeting, they actually refused to speak. And as when I left, they made a few remarks, and that was
why?
it. I don't know why.
The Attorney General, Godfrey Addo, has vowed to prosecute public officials found culpable in a power purchase agreement which has caused the country an amount of $170 million in judgment debt. His comment comes after a London-based United Nations Commission on International Trade Law Tribunal issued its final award, ordering government to pay $170 million in damages to the GPGC for failing to meet set deadlines in contesting alleged unlawful termination of a contract between the two parties. Now, speaking to Francisca Kakafos, and the Attorney General noted investigations are underway and public officials involved will be prosecuted.
Attorney General, Madam Akufo-Addo, recommended termination of the agreement in 2018 on account of the PPA committee report. So her decision was informed purely by the PPA review report and also an examination of other circumstances surrounding the agreement, i.e. failure to attain conditions precedent and what have you. And unfortunately, that determination was adjudged to be wrong by the Permanent Court of Arbitration, which we were subjected to. In any case, the fundamental point is that the termination was necessary. Secondly, relatively, the state was saved more losses. If you're a public officer, you're acting in accordance with the tenets of reasonableness, diligence, and sound policy. You ought not to take any decision which will expose the state unnecessarily to financial loss. That is why there's a provision in the Criminal Offences Act for causing financial. It said willfully causing financial loss. And willfully causing financial loss is occasioned where a person takes a decision either recklessly, negligently, or deliberately with the intention that the state will ultimately lose. So the question must be asked as to why a public officer vested with discretion and vested with the nation's resources will enter into multiple PPA agreements which would occasion excess supply. Supply when the state was not in need of the power, and also at cost that was adjudged by the PPA committee to be excessive. Inquiry into these matters to ascertain whether the acts of the public officers were deliberate, reckless, or just negligent. And if that is the case, then of course the penal implications will follow. The CID deals with criminal proceedings. Okay. So it's just an investigation which will form the basis for possible charges against public officers culpable in the whole transaction. So the position must be expressed that clearly this administration and myself in particular, I'm against judgment debt, and that I will pursue any public officer. It's just on account of the same principle that I'm referring the conduct of the public officers in question to the CID. I think that whenever any public officer, by his actions, occasion undue financial loss to the state.
Meanwhile, the editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide, Abdul Malik Kubako, has defended the botched GPGC power deal that has caused Ghana a judgment debt of $170 million awarded by a London court. Speaking on Metro TV's Good Morning Ghana, he noted it's not every judgment debt that's tainted with fraud. Meanwhile, in a sharp rebuttal, the communications officer of the National Democratic Congress, Sami Diemfi, noted this judgment debt may not be tainted with fraud. The government must accept the responsibility of criminal negligence and recklessness.
I asked myself, what have we been doing since we were confronted with the challenge of judgment debts, especially the negatives? Take a look at the Justice Apau's report. Whole lot of recommendations pointing to the sources of why those particular ones happened. Those that were unavoidable, he states them there clearly. What have we been doing? Virtually nothing. And perhaps it means we are not creating a culture of deterrence. And because we'll be living here with judgment debts for a while to come, there's a need for something to be done. I have no opposition to the need to investigate and, if possible, to sanction. I have no problem with that.
Mr. Bako says that not every judgment debt is tainted with fraud or corruption. That is true. And I will not say that this judgment debt is tainted with fraud. But I can tell you that this judgment debt is tainted with criminal negligence and criminal recklessness. And that is why I am sad, sitting here as again, and that is why I'm heartbroken. Because we've been slapped with this $170 million judgment debt, which is accruing interest on a daily basis, compounded on a monthly basis. Because of the criminal negligence and recklessness of the Akufo-Addo government. They are the ones who have caused this huge financial loss to the state, and therefore must be held responsible. So yes, they may not be fraud, but there is criminal negligence and there is criminal recklessness. It is so clear that is the reason why we are where we are.
And still on the issue of judgment debt, here are some recommended practical solutions from a professor in the Department of Government and International Affairs at the University of South Florida, Dr. Stephen K. Akins, to help Ghana from incurring more judgment debt shortly. Would have them roll on your screen, and I'll take you through some of the things he's recommended Ghana takes into consideration. So the first one, he says, resource and expand the role of Ghana or the Ghana Audit Service. Secondly, he says the Ministry of Finance and Economic Planning should also serve as a financial gatekeeper. Thirdly, he is recommending that only professional lawyers with technical competence should handle legal matters. And fourthly, he's recommending government implement some procedures to make contract abrogation a rare occurrence. What's more, he is also asking for a review and an enforcement of procurement laws and properly administer contracts to avoid liability, reform government procurement processes and implement best practices, create an environment of politics administration dichotomy in the MDAs, and also implement judgment debt handling procedures as part of debt management policy. He's also asking for a review to help improve and enforce financial management laws and policy in the country, resource the nation's courts, provide orientation on ethics of governance to government officials, and implement an integrated government-wide information system. Lastly, he's asking for more investigations and also legal actions, if needed, against persons who are found to be involved in matters relating to judgment debts. Well, we'll go for a break and return with more. But when we do return, though, the Attorney General describes as unnecessary calls by a Member of Parliament for the introduction of legal regime for compensation for persons wrongfully arrested, detained or convicted. We'll bring you details of this particular story after we return from the break. Do stay.
The Constitution has provisions on that. If a person has been wrongly convicted, after the acquittal, the person can apply for compensation. The Supreme Court is vested with the jurisdiction to determine such compensation. No, in fact, recently we got much like that. So already there's legal or sufficient legal provision for such a situation.
Sweat or blowing your nose with it. Keeping a dirty handkerchief in your pocket or bag is very unhygienic. Reusing it increases your chances of getting sick from germs. That is why I always use Flora disposable handkerchiefs. Flora disposable handkerchiefs is disposable, thus making it a more hygienic option. It's thick and very absorbent. With 10 tissues in the pack, Flora disposable handkerchief is better than a cloth handkerchief. Look out for Flora toilet roll, Flora multi-purpose paper towels, Flora table napkins, and Flora box tissues in a shop near you. Purchases contact people 0243 033 033.
The search for a reliable partner in dealing with your U-turn bus needs has been made easier and convenient with SA Automobile. SA Automobile, formerly U-turn Ghana Limited, has been in the business of offering quality U-turn product and services at competitive rates. At SA Automobile, our team of expert staff, management, engineers, and mechanics professionally deal in the sale of U-turn buses, genuine spare parts, its repairs and maintenance at our highly effective workshop with remarkable speed. We also have available the sale of Camel car batteries, Weichai and Kia spare parts, Zonton coaches and light-duty vehicles for everyday movement. Contact us on 020-000-0831 or 054-555-7500. You can also email us info@saautomobilegh.com or visit our website at www.saautomobilegh.com. SA Automobile, the pleasure of doing business with you is all ours.
Welcome back. This is NewsBeat on Metro Television with me, Ifiafu. So let's bring you more stories now. The Attorney General Godfrey Dame has ascribed as unnecessary calls by the Member of Parliament for the Madina constituency, Francis Xavier SOSU, to introduce a legal regime for the compensation of persons who have been wrongfully arrested, detained or convicted. The Member of Parliament for the Madina constituency earlier this month initiated a private member's bill on unlawful arrest, detention and compensation for consideration in Parliament. Now, we'll hear from the AG, but first, here's Francis Xavier SOSU speaking to Noble Crosby Annan on Newsnight.
I would say that the motivation behind the introduction of the bill it comes from several factors. One, you would recall that working as a human rights lawyer, I had to work for several clients who are either arrested or detained by the police, and sometimes some of these arrests turns out to be unlawful arrests. It turns out that people are invited by the police and locked for no offense done at all. When these people are finally released, we don't have any regime that compensates them for the wrong done them. And quite apart from that, you can also observe the number of, violations committed by our security forces when it comes to using their power of arrest. And there is no checks on this this power of arrest. And I believe that this bill would do some good to Ghanaians in respect of these matters. And quite apart from that also, I've been involved in the Justice for All program, where we've had on several occasions release people from remand prisons, and either they are completely discharged or acquitted and discharged, and we don't have any compensation regime that compensates them. So when you put all these things together, I feel it is very important that we give effect to Article 14(5) and 7 of the Constitution that provides for the need for compensation for people.
Speaking to Francis Akakafos, and the Attorney General noted there's already a law in the Constitution on compensation for persons who have been wrongfully arrested, and there isn't the need to pass a new law. Here's more.
The general phenomenon of indiscipline in many regards, say reckless driving, indiscipline on the streets, and all, is really of concern to me. And I've actually commenced, it's actually just, it's about to be formalized, and I'll formalize it in no time. A dialogue between myself, the Honorable Chief Justice, the Minister for Lands and Natural Resources, the Minister for Transport. I'll initiate, serve them letters in that regard. To start some consultative processes and all. And that will actually lead to the institution of more or less a permanent committee which we are addressing such issues. The committee will be made up of representatives from all these high-level persons and all. So it's just one of the means to address it. But I think that is very serious. One person says that if you go to any country, you want to see whether the people are disciplined, just look at the streets. And really, in Ghana, I think our story that is not sound at all. But the Constitution has provisions on that. If a person has been wrongly convicted, after the acquittal, the person can apply for compensation. The Supreme Court is vested with the jurisdiction to determine such compensation and all. In fact, recently we dealt with a matter like that. So already there's legal or sufficient legal provision for such a situation.
So the full version of that interview airs today at exactly 2 p.m. on Good Afternoon Ghana. Two other stories. The editor-in-chief of the New Crusading Guide, Abdul Malik Kwekubako, says the National Democratic Congress should not be allowed to find refuge in what he describes as imaginary fears. He says the party should allow the judiciary to operate fairly. His comments follow the press conference organized by the National Democratic Congress to demand a reverse of the Chief Justice's hauling of the former Chief Justice Dominic Ayene to the General Legal Council over comments against the Supreme Court judges who sat on the 2020 election petition. The communications officer for the NDC, meanwhile, Sami Jemfi, however, rebutted what he said, saying the comparisons done by the journalist Kwekubako were misplaced.
I really think the NDC intrusion was not the right one. It makes things difficult. It makes those who are seeking mitigation or amnesty or withdrawal difficult. You see, undue politicization of this otherwise professional, strictly legal issue. I would have wished they hadn't intervened.
Dr. Ayene is one of the most reliable, most committed, lawyers who are members of the NDC and who have been supporting the party. So if he's involved in this matter, the first matter we didn't wade in. In all the cases I cited, NDC-affiliated lawyers being cited for disciplinary action by the Chief Justice. We've never commented on these matters. Okay? In some of the cases, we have even encouraged them to apologize. But when the things are beginning to appear as if this is a trend, certain lawyers belonging to a certain fraternity are being targeted, and they are always the ones being referred to the disciplinary committee of the General Legal Council by one particular person, the Chief Justice for disciplinary committee, then it gives us as a political party genuine cause for concern. So wading into this matter was appropriate. It was not an intrusion, unwarranted intrusion, as Mr. Bako thinks.
To other stories, President Akufo-Addo believes it's the time for Africa to build a resilient economy in the post-COVID era by creating an entrepreneurial-led ecosystem that supports the growth of new businesses, particularly those owned by young people. Opening a virtual annual meeting of the African Development Bank, the president stressed that the continent must move steadily in coping with many economic challenges posed by the COVID-19 pandemic.
The president is currently on a two-day tour of the Northeast region. His first meeting was with the chiefs and people of Wale Wale to thank them for their support during the 2020 elections. With several appointees of government hailing from the Northeast region, the president gave an assurance that upon the completion of the composition of his government, there will be more appointments made from the region.
I want to thank you very much. Of the 6 seats there are in the Northeast region, MPP won 4. And for the first time in the history of the Fourth Republic, the MPP presidential candidate won an absolute majority of the presidential vote in the Northeast region. I have 2 regrets, Nalerigo and Bokogo, and I'm hoping that the next time will do better so we can get all 6 seats in the Northeast region.
Also in Wale, the president inspected a $36 million watermelon juice factory as well as a rice factory in Nasia, operating under government's One District, One Factory initiative. In Mamprugu, the overlord of the area applauded the president for seeing to the construction and completion of several projects which have been on the wish list of the chiefs and people of the area for many years.
We know, unfortunately, in our country, that many of the security challenges that we have in Ghana are related to chieftaincy and land disputes. So as quickly as possible, the regional coordinating councils and the regional security councils of the 2 regions all together to get together with the support of the landowners, that is the chiefs, to find an amicable settlement and a permanent demarcation of the boundaries between the 2 peoples of the Northeast region and the Savannah region.
Now, on issues regarding the purchasing of vaccines for Ghana, the minority in Parliament is at the moment addressing a press conference on that. They are making some submissions, and they are saying that investigations by them has revealed that no middlemen have authority from the Russian government to be engaged as agents in the purchase of vaccines. Let's take you to Parliament now for the latest on this.
As we all know, Ghana's first case of COVID was in March last year. The NDC, together with many medical experts, public health practitioners, civil society organizations, and religious bodies, had a firm conviction that the government general management and containment of the virus in Ghana could have been managed much more efficiently and could have shown better regard for science and data, and probably could have even caused the country less, and we could avoid some of the fraudulent things we are reading and hearing about in the transactions associated with Ghana's response into combating COVID. As per the last update the Ghana Health Service provided, we recorded about 94,824 confirmed cases of COVID, with regrettable deaths of about 790. These deaths included our heroic medical professionals and very influential persons. Many mothers and fathers are gone. Families have lost their very cherished ones. Its impact on the economy is debilitating. I understand just my reading a few minutes ago that Fitch has now moved Ghana to negative from stable in terms of Fitch rating. So it means that the economy is just not doing well, and things will get better as we go along. But you know, the government of Nana Addo Akufo-Addo blame COVID, profit from COVID. That is the new hypothesis he has introduced into the management of COVID. In one breath, every other stress, he says blame COVID. Then whilst he's fleecing...
We'll definitely bring you more on that press conference by the minority in Parliament in our subsequent bulletins. At this moment, it's time to bring you the latest in business, and Kenneth is standing by. Hello, Kenneth.
Hi, Ifya. Good to see you. My name is Kenneth Jesse. Business News is up next. Stay with us. Now, the Member of Parliament for Bolgatanga Central, Isaac Adongo, says President Akufo-Addo and other economic managers should stop attributing their inability to properly manage the economy to the effects of COVID-19 for the economic activities that it has plunged the country into. He spoke during a public lecture organized by the Coalition for Restoration under the theme Ghana's Economy, a Victim of COVID-19 or Pre-Existing Condition.
So 2019, when you were doing 62.4%, was there COVID? Did you have COVID? But look at the gap. From 2017, again, I keep mentioning this watering of seed. It came down to 55.5. After that, we never saw that again. After that, it increased to 57.6 when their policies and propaganda began to work. increased to 62, 2020 76.1. They are projecting that 2020 it will decline to 70.2. Now look at IMF projections. IMF is saying that by 2024, per their own documents and projections, Ghana would have debt to GDP of 86.
Now, President Akufo-Addo believes that it is time for Africa to build a resilient economy in the post-COVID-19 era by creating an entrepreneurial-led ecosystem that supports the growth of new businesses participating, those owned by young people. Now, opening a virtual annual meeting at Africa Development Bank, the president stressed that the continent must move steadily in coping with the many economic challenges caused by the COVID-19 pandemic.
I hope to see additional collaborations, partnerships, and the continued allocation of substantial resources towards initiatives that accelerate our chances of building back boldly, better, and greener. I ask that we remain focused on promoting inclusive growth, especially in digitalization, health, agriculture, industrial processing, and eliminating gender disparities. Today's annual meetings have an appropriate focus, building resilient economies in post-COVID-19 Africa, which is an unavoidable imperative if our continent is to recover from the effects of the pandemic. In an unprecedented global event of this magnitude, we must engineer a response that will help accelerate our structural transformation. Our will in seeing it through must be total. We need to reawaken bonds of solidarity between the Bank Group, African Union organs and institutions, and regional economic communities, and demonstrate a united commitment towards rebuilding our communities.
Now, Bitcoin has dipped below the long-held support of $30,000, hitting the lowest level since January 28, 2021. The cryptocurrency traded at $29,700 shortly before press time, bringing the year-to-date gain to just about 3%.
The drop comes a day after the People's Bank of China ordered the country's major financial institutions to stop facilitating crypto transactions and signals an end of the 4-week-long consolidation between $30,000 and $40,000. Bitcoin peaked above $64,000 in mid-April and fell by 35% in May on the back of concerns regarding the negative environmental impact of cryptocurrency mining and renewed regulatory crackdown in China. Last week, the Federal Reserve unexpectedly brought forward the timing of the first interest rate hike to 2023, adding to bearish pressures around the cryptocurrency. While Bitcoin is down 8% on a 24-hour basis, other major coins like Ether, XRP, and Cardano are nursing 10% to 20% losses.
Now, the World Bank Migration and Development Report for 2021 has reported an increase of 5% to $3.6 billion in remittance flows to Ghana, despite lockdowns around the world in the heat of the COVID-19 pandemic. Host countries for Ghanaian migrants include the USA, the UK, Cote d'Ivoire, Italy, Germany, and Canada. There is more in the following desk report.
The resilience of Ghanaian migrants has been commended in the face of the harsh economic impact on the top 10 remittance-sending countries because of COVID-19. The World Bank has projected that remittance flows to low and middle-income countries was expected to fall by 7% to $508 billion in 2020. This is followed by a further decline of 7.5% to $470 billion in 2021 due to the lockdown, unexpected economic effects of COVID-19 in the remittance-sending countries, but contrary to expectations, remittances to Ghana rather increased. Remittances in Ghana are a growing source of foreign funds, raising the standard of living for vulnerable and low-income households. A study conducted by the International Organization for Migration in the Ghana market indicates that Ghana, as of 2019, was the second largest recipient of remittances in sub-Saharan Africa. Cash flows through official channels have increased from $117.6 million in 2007 to an estimated $3.8 billion in 2018. Remittances make up 7.4% of Ghana's gross domestic product. It is estimated that if monitored, remittances sent through informal channels could increase total flows by as much as 50%.
And that'll be it for business. My name is Kenneth. Jesse Efia is standing by for the rest of the news.
We're bringing us a business update, Kenneth. We go for a break and return shortly with the latest in sports. To stay.
Safe First Charge System with 2-for-1 certification. 90Hz Superfluid display. 6.95-inch Full HD+. MediaTek Helio G95 processor. Unbeatable gaming experience. Infinix Note 10 Pro, faster and smoother.
In Ghana and in Africa, there is only one place to look to get that luxurious design and decor for your offices and homes. Visit Jamila Home. We give you the climax of luxury wherever you find yourself. Presidential and executive office furniture, living room sets, dining set, stunning mirrors, adorable wallpapers, lovely king and queen size beds, valuable antiques and antique goods, beautiful chandeliers and more. Into the bargain, we provide caring customer service, prompt delivery service, skilled and artistic full house design and decor services, and free decor ideas for your space. Our products and service is unparalleled, boasting of top-tier clients all over the globe. Jamila Home, home of first-class quality furniture, beautiful chandeliers, and antiques.
Welcome back. Up next, we're bringing you the latest in terms of sports. My name is Fayo Jonokoto. We're starting with the Ghana Premier League. The venue will be at the Accra Sports Stadiums when the Phobians welcome Legon City in that crucial tie this afternoon. Ahead of the match, Samuel Bodo, who is in charge of the Phobians, says that the players will have to go beyond whatever they play to ensure that they get the results.
I will be expecting them to play good football and I don't know, they carry the 3 maximum points. That's the most important thing.
We are well prepared, 100%. Everything from management to playing body. We are well prepared, so we are waiting for the next game.
Meanwhile, Legon City's manager Bashir Hayford and player Jonas Atukwefio are also looking forward to that tie against the Phobians. They said they will be well prepared.
Accra is a good team. They have the materials. Legon City is a good team, very, very good team. They also have the materials. I'm saying that if this team gels well, it's going to be one of the toughest teams any team can beat in Ghana. And so we are not afraid of anything. And so disclosing my strategy for the match, I think it's too late. And so they have a problem. There's pressure. As a coach, I know if I'm in the shoes of my brother Boedu, it's not easy. Because for the past is it 10 years or 9 years or something that they want to take? The same thing when I went to Kotoko so many years. For Ashgold, 19 years. And I know why it takes, when the pressure was on you to win, that you take the league, because it is a long time that we took the league. And everybody is putting his eye on it that we are winning. So the pressure is on them, not us. And so there's no need even disclosing it. The strategy is that we are going to play football. They should also play football. That's all. That's the strategy.
Whenever we are playing against a very big club, and I think in Ghana here, if we are mentioning one or two, House of Folk might be there. So when we are playing against such team, the ego, or maybe before the start of the game, you yourself have to say something to yourself. This match I have to do something. And I think for we to go into this game, we are very well prepared. And I think a very good result will come out.
The game will be at the Accra Sports Stadium. The Phobians are lying second. Kotoko are on top after beating Karela yesterday at the Langley Sports Stadium. Let's go to the English capital, London. And Wimbledon is starting pretty soon. Novak Djokovic, after winning the French Open, is hoping to add the All-England title to his collections.
I'm going to play Wimbledon now, and hopefully I can get my hands on the Wimbledon trophy again. You know, I had a championship title run in 18 and 19. Last year was not played, so hopefully I can keep that run going. I'm feeling good on grass. I think I improved a lot with my game on grass over the years. Every Grand Slam is like a, you know, probably a Mount Everest to climb, you know, for tennis players.
He has 18 Grand Slams and looking forward to Wimbledon. Quite interesting. Let's go to the United States of America and get you the latest from the NBA. That is the Eastern Conference.
Game 1 of the Eastern Conference Finals on Wednesday. Tre Young and the Atlanta Hawks 2-0 in Game 1s this postseason, both having come on the road where they find themselves in Milwaukee on Wednesday, taking on Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks. And early on, the Bucks getting out and running. Giannis throwing one down. Tre Young, Milwaukee up 26-20. Then Drew Holiday didn't play his best ball in the Brooklyn series. He got this series started off right. 33 points, 10 assists for him. A big dunk with the left hand right there. Giannis playing bully ball on Clint Capella, just taking him down into the paint for the finger roll. And then Tre had 4 threes in 13 attempts. There's one of them going. His go-to move this postseason. As you look again, fancy handle right there. And up and over Brook Lopez for 2. Then look at the creativity right there. Tre Young ooping it to John Collins off the glass. And Collins, the alertness, under 30 ticks on the clock now. Pat Connaughton missing everything on the three-point attempt. PJ Tucker, Giannis both trying to save it. Tre tracks it down and gets fouled. He would head to the line to make a couple free throws. Atlanta by 3 in the closing seconds now. And Chris Middleton.
Well, that's it for sports. My name is Phil John Quote. Harriet is standing, smiling, and latest entertainment.
I bring you the latest in the world of entertainment. There's more after this. Multiple award-winning singer and Lynx Entertainment signee KIDI has released his new album, The Golden Boy. The Artist of the Year at the 3 Music Awards held a listening session with fans at Quill last night. Here are highlights of the session.
Oh, nana.
Wanna know what it feels like? Steady pace. We got all night. You say I'm thirsty. One letter juice drip on me.
Let me hear you sing.
Girl, your love is spiritual. Oh my God, oh, girl, your love, baby.
Everybody say,
oh my God.
Let me hear you say,
girl, your love is spiritual. Oh my God, oh, girl, your love, baby. Cause all you kisses to Legon over you. When you give me chance to love you, I will over you. Everybody go. When it's said and done, I want to see you in the PM. So when you come through, no more talking. We going straight to the sex. So right now while we texting, yeah. Sunny days, holidays, everything I want is a mile away. Me and Zay, aeroplanes, chilling on an island far away. I'm just searching for the pot of gold, holy water upon my head to toe. I know sunny days, holidays, everything I want is a mile away.
This is already a hit. I can't wait to listen to the songs on that album. Now, let's move on to some more stories. Grammy Award-winning singer Mary J. Blige has shared her life experience in her new documentary, Mary J. Blige, My Life. And now the documentary details her difficult childhood and will be fully released on Friday, 25th June.
Queen of hip-hop soul, as she is affectionately called, is opening up about her life in her new documentary, which will be fully released tomorrow. The documentary details Blige's difficult childhood and the painful experiences she had as a little girl growing up in the projects in Yonkers, New York, all of which influenced and inspired her hit 1994 album of the same name. While the album was informed by Blige's trauma and challenges, it was also a real breakthrough for Blige in terms of her career and finding a massive fan base. Blige has 13 albums to her credit on a career spanning over 25 years. Mary J. Blige has received a total of 87 awards from 234 nominations for her music and acting career. She has 9 Grammy Awards, 6 BET Awards, including the Lifetime Achievement Award in 2019 and the Icon of the Year by Billboard Women in Music in 2017. Mary J. Blige, My Life, debuts on Amazon Prime on June 25.
That's it for entertainment news on NewsBeat. My name is Hayford. Up next is international news. But before I go, happy birthday to you, Afia. I pray you live a long, fulfilled life.
Casualties at a village market. So we'll definitely bring you more of that story in our subsequent bulletins. This has been NewsBeat on Metro Television. We came to you from the KUMASI here at North Ridge in Accra. My name is Afia Officer. Thanks so much for watching.
Metro TV, insightful and inspiring moments.